What's going on, guys? So another video. Picked up new tank of welding gas. We got a couple of fuel tanks out. So this was the 57 tank that came with it, and it's all kind of KO'd and stuff. And this tank I think was in the 55, or I got it with the 55, not really too sure. So they're basically the same. The only difference between a 55 tank and a 7 tank is there's a vent tube on the 57 right there. So I just need a vented cap. So this was the fuel sender I took out of the tank I'm going to use. It didn't work. It's all beat up, corroded. This is the sender that's actually out of the KO'd tank. So I'm going to put this sender in this tank. That should work out swimmingly. Anyways, I can put the tank in, and then I can start fitting the exhaust, because I didn't finish the tailpipe because it's around the fuel tank. So my plan is get that sender in, 2 straps, get the tank up while it's empty, get it kind of plumbed up a little bit, and then once I get the exhaust in, I can hook it all up, and I should be able to run this thing off fuel in the tank, which would be pretty sweet. So clean up the rest of this junk, slide under there, and start getting her together. Well, I figured I'd show you what I've been messing around on. So I got the fuel tank in, it's all good. I got the exhaust on. I'm down 1 clamp, so I just had a 2.5 inch just to kind of hold it. But I put a hanger at the back of this little kind of tailpipe I made. This is actually the original down pipe that I cut off. And let's just kind of roll up here. So it goes up over the exhaust, or up over the rear end, sorry. Into there, it's got lots of room, not touching it. I put another hanger in there, into the muffler. Further ahead, I put another hanger kind of midway right here, just past the Y pipe, and then it'll go up into the headers. So it's nice and sturdy, won't have any issues there. So that worked out great. I'm going to go ahead, put the, I don't have any gaskets in the collector, so I'll do that, take that apart, and I'll put the header gaskets right off the head. So then the exhaust will be done, other than I just need 1 clamp. And I'm basically done on it here. The next thing I'm going to try and do, we're on the e-brake cable, it's just all kind of looped up, so I actually got to pull the drive shaft, so it has to go under it, and here, and then I have the front cable, it's actually just hanging out of the door, but I want to run that around and get that in. But yeah, I'm making lots of progress. Well, I've worked myself into the night. It's probably almost midnight. I managed to get the e-brake kind of mostly done, so I got the handle in, the new cable running down. There's 2 little wheels that'll kind of works itself in a little pulley system. I can even show it in there, but it was a pain because it's behind this inner fender. Lesson learned: when I did the 55, it was really easy because there was no fenders. Probably should have done that first. And then I went through and I managed to find half of the e-brake hardware underneath. So this goes on one side with this little bar that goes in between. It just kind of pivots, and that's what pulls on the rear cable. I pulled the trigger and ordered another rear cable. It's 25 bucks on Amazon. So every one of those, it'll be here in a few days hopefully. But I still need to make something like this for the other side, because it has to just hold this little hook. But I'm tired, so that'll be a job for tomorrow. And maybe I'll just keep looking. Obviously it has to be here, or it was here at some point, I don't know. This was, I remember seeing it in the trunk when I first got the car, so I left it in there. Just 2 pieces. So I'll take the whole thing apart again. But if I get the e-brake on, I think this thing can kind of go down, which would be nice, and start working on the motor. Fun stuff. I need a win. I've had enough of this piddly stuff. But that's it for me tonight. I'll be back at tomorrow, and yeah, keep on keeping on. So it's the next day, working on the car a little bit. Went through all the boxes. I can't find the e-brake part I wanted, unfortunately, so I have to make that. I did put in the ratchet shifter. I mean, they look tacky in bench seat cars, but I mean, it is what it is. It was cheap. Kind of a bit of a compromise. I put as far forward as I could so she can go ahead for Danny, so she can get in there. Otherwise, it's all hooked up underneath and it works. So that's great. And I find this little valve for the, I guess it's the coolant, the heater core, so I can put that in underneath. I still got to put on the collector gaskets and the header gaskets on the head. I didn't do that last night. And what else I gotta do? Well, and then I gotta put in the parts I do have, and I gotta fabricate one piece there underneath. So probably won't do a lot of filming of that. I'll just kind of show you when it's all done, because it's ugly work. But yep, I'll get on it and I'll bring you guys back, show you how it turned out. Well, I'm sure you guys are probably tired of it too, but I'm basically done under the car, finally. I got all the collector gaskets in. The headers were a pain upstairs. I had to drill out there was some slag in the bolts, so it didn't want to fit. Anyways, this is what I ended up kind of doing, so it's a bit of a janky setup, but that's kind of how it was from the factory. So this is the cable from the front. It ends up going back to this kind of bar setup. It's super dark here, it's night there. And it goes across, spring for return. This little piece goes in the bar, so as you pull the cable ahead, the whole bar moves ahead. This is the piece I made. So it's supposed to have a piece that goes around and this bar is notched, just fits in. So I just had this old, I don't know what it is, mount of some sort. I just pulled a bolt in it. Half-inch bolt, it's not going anywhere. I'd like to find the proper piece, but for now it works. Tested it, everything's good there. Danny was out earlier. We ran the transmission through the gears. So that's all adjusted properly. You can see the brand new B&M cable and little brackets. So that's all dealt with. So yeah, exhaust is done. Fuel line's hooked up. Tomorrow, I'm going to see if I can convince my old man to come by right after work and bleed the brakes. And then drop this thing off stands. So I want to do some fun stuff under the hood. Like I said, it's just tossed everything on there, but I should be able to kind of wire it up real quick. I had it running already. So put some grounds on it, wire everything up to the ignition switch, maybe start putting the wiper motor in. I got a different set of hood hinges. I'll put those on, maybe put the hood on. I got to get a lower radiator hose. I got to mount the radiator properly because it's just sitting there. But that's all fun stuff, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's it for me tonight. I'll be back at tomorrow. In the meantime, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, tomorrow will be a fun day. Okay, next day. Let's go off work. My old man's actually gonna come over, see if we can bleed the brakes on this thing before I drop it down on the ground. Then I gotta clean up in here because, man, it gets dirty in here in a hurry. But get the brakes done, clean up a little bit. I got a lower rad hose for this thing. I can make work. I actually got a belt, the 55, because it yacked the belt off a couple times. But lots of cleaning, and then yeah, when you guys see it next, hopefully it'll be down on the ground, looking like a sweet hot rod. Well, I've worked myself into the night again. Didn't get a whole lot accomplished. A lot of screwing around stuff. I had a few last things to do under the car, but the brakes are bled, 100% done. The e-brake works. You know, I cleaned up in the garage a little bit, but the thing's down. It's on the wheels. I'm sure I'll have to be up on stands again, but at this point, I want to finish off all the stuff that's easier to do when you're not standing on a stool. So I've been tossing parts in the motor literally, but tomorrow after work I should be able to put the heater core and fan back in. I got a different set of hood hinges for it, so I'll put those on, put the column in maybe. I got to mount the radiator. I got to build some sort of bracket, so I put it out in the 6-cylinder position. I had this fan, but it looks like it's going to be too big. It's going to hit the core support, so I don't know if I want to hack in the core support or if I want to try and find a smaller fan maybe. I'm not too sure. I got a couple radiator hoses for it, the proper one for the bottom, a miscellaneous one for up top. Hopefully I can make that work. Run some wiring for the starter and all those sort of things. So, I mean, you guys know motor stuff, even though it looks like it's very far apart, it's just bolting stuff together. So once I can do that, I'm hoping I can get started with the key, and then really, it's got brakes, if it runs on the key and all that. This transmission I know did run at one point, so put some fluid in it. I should be able to kind of back this thing out of the garage, maybe take it for a ride around the block. No lights or anything, but hey, that's for suckers. But that's where I'm leaving it for tonight. I think I got my, I'm not going to be able to start anything and finish it off tonight anyways, so I'll leave it for tomorrow. It's a good spot for me. It looks cool back on the ground. I'm stoked about it, and the interior's in. Really looks like a car, so I'll be back at it tomorrow. Hopefully we'll finish off this thing, maybe make it run the next couple days. We'll see what happens coming up in the weekend. Hopefully we can get a bunch done there. Okay, so next day, just got off work. So I did a couple things actually while the GoPro was charging. I made a little bracket just with some spare aluminum I had to hold the radiator in front of the core support. And I managed to kind of clean a few things up. So I have a couple of radiator hoses. That's where all the wiring under hood is going to be. And then I threw down all the miscellaneous heater hoses I have, you know, just scraps. I found a small electric fan. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make fit. I just hung on a couple of pulleys I had. So it looks like, I mean, all I'm going to run on this thing is an alternator. So that should be no big deal. Get a belt going for that. So next step now, I want to torque down all the header bolts, because I haven't done that yet. I want to change the hood hinges, because I have a different set that are, I guess, factory of the car. These are missing springs and stuff, so I'll put those on. I want to run the fuel line, because it's just sitting there. Transmission line. I do have all that kind of little stuff, because once I put in the blower motor and all that back again, it takes up so much room. It's a pain to get under there. So I get that all done. Then I can run the heater lines to the core and this little, whatever this valve thing is, that's falling down there. Then that side will be done. Hook up plug wires, all that. Oh, I gotta put spark plugs in, because I had them out when I was doing the header, so I gotta do that as well. So lots of just kind of piddly maintenance stuff. But, I mean, now it's all cleaned up. It's kind of knock things out one at a time. I want to put a new set of valve cover gaskets on it. I think I have some, but they're all kind of cracked up. So I'll do that. I might have to make a little list of stuff I got to go to the parts store. I don't think I have a whole lot of 3/8 fuel line, so hopefully I can get enough. At least I can get the transmission lines around and all that. But yeah, making lots of progress. I mean, short list, and this is all easy stuff. Just kind of keep bolting it together. I can also tighten up all my suspension components now, the motors in and all that stuff, so I can tighten up all the control arms. So making progress. I'll just kind of be doing some stuff and bring you guys back and periodically and show you how I'm doing. Okay, so I've made a fair bit of progress here. I actually had to stop and run to the parts store, but plugs are in. I switched over the hood hinges, do a little bit of screwing around, kind of going through, putting some pulleys and all that on, making sure that's right. I changed, put me in a fuel line, so it's all legit. But I had to run to the parts store, like I said, so I got a set of valve cover gaskets, just some cheapy ones. Got some stuff to hang on the cooling fan, some heater hose, like a little nipple there, thermostat, what else did I get? And, oh yeah, and a water neck, a straight up water neck, because that, the hose I have, it'll work out pretty good, just going straight in. So I'm going to do that, probably paint this trans cooler. I don't know where I got this from, but it looks cool, so I'll paint that up, it'll work. A little bit more cleaning. Oh, and I got in that little valve there, so that's all ready to go. So I should be able to kind of put the cooling system together, which is pretty sweet. But, yeah, I'm going to clean these things up, give everything kind of a coat of paint and stuff like that, start putting some stuff on. But it is supper time right now, so I don't know, maybe I'll be back after that. We'll see what happens. Okay, well, it's nighttime, and I've run out of parts. So I got heater hoses on, the little fan kind of squirrel cage, all that's in. I got the cooler in and run. Fuel line was run, I think I said that already. What else did I do? I don't know, just kind of working away. I gotta put the valve cover gaskets on yet. But I need some more parts. So that's it for tonight and probably this video. I think I'll be back at it tomorrow, like usual. Today's Thursday, so tomorrow, Saturday, I get lots done, hopefully on the weekend there. And this thing will run, maybe even with the key. Because it's basically there, so it's exciting. I mean, it looks a heck of a lot like a motor. So, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends. I'll be back in a couple days with a bunch more progress. Thanks guys, see you on the next one.